At the remotest corner of the peaceful town of Duskwood stood a house that no one dared enter. It was located at the fringes of the forest, where crooked trees rustled and howling winds never ceased. The villagers spoke about it, how its windows would blink like eyes, how its doors would creak even when closed, and how, on certain nights, the house would not be there. They referred to it as the Walker House. No one had ever seen it move, but every now and then, someone would insist on seeing it in a new location. Sometimes deeper into the forest. Sometimes near town. And sometimes, directly outside their window. 12-year-old Mira didn't think the tales were true. She was fearless, too fearless for her own good. "It's just old wood popping," she said to her little brother Sami. "Houses can't walk." But one stormy evening, Mira's curiosity got the best of her. She packed a flashlight, her lucky red scarf, and a notebook for sketching. "I'll just peek inside," she told herself. "Then I'll finally prove it's just a normal old house." She didn't tell anyone where she was going. As thunder rumbled and rain drizzled down, she crossed the field toward the twisted trees. The Walker House stood there, tall and crooked, with ivy clinging to its cracked bricks. The front door creaked open before she even touched it. Mira froze. Just the wind, she told herself. Inside, the house had the scent of wet dirt and ash. The floor creaked beneath every step, and the walls moaned with the wind. Dust swirled in the air like specters. She played her flashlight on a staircase. It wound up like a backbone. And then, thud. The whole house shook. Mira staggered and clung to a railing. "Earthquake," she breathed. But then another noise. Clomp, clomp. It was emanating from below. The floorboards creaked up and down like the lid of something breathing. A low, groaning moan resounded through walls. Mira spun to flee, but the front door was gone. Instead, there was an empty wall. The house had shifted. The walls expanded, the floor canted, and Mira was suddenly plummeting, sliding downward into the basement that hadn't existed before. She fell gently on earth. Dozens of shoes surrounded her. Tiny ones, large ones, dirty ones, ripped ones. And one red sneaker. Her brother's. Mira's heart froze. "Sami," but only the house replied. It was laughing. A deep, creaking, hungry laugh. The floor beneath her started to rise up. She glanced around and saw wooden beams flexing like knees. Pipes curled like veins. And in the distance, a dark heartbeat pounded. This wasn't a house. It was alive. And it had been eating. On lost objects. On lost individuals. Mira fled, down the tiny corridors that shifted behind her. Doors closed of their own accord. Stairs converted to slides. Mirrors showed her not her reflection but a distorted version, grinning back. She ascended a ladder that took her to the attic, the one location the house hadn't sealed. Through the broken roof, she could see the truth. The house had legs. Huge, wooden legs, like tree trunks covered in moss and rope. They trudged across the muddy field as the house strode, leaving huge footprints full of rain. Mira shouted into the storm, hoping someone, anyone at all, would hear her. Just then, she remembered the notebook in her backpack. She had read somewhere once that stories could trap magic. With shaking hands, she pulled it out and started to write. "This house walks, but it walks alone." The walls trembled. "It feeds on fear, but it fears being known." The heartbeat accelerated. Once its secret is written and read, the beams creaked, the legs faltered. The house must sleep, its hunger fed. Crack. A flash of lightning illuminated the attic as the house screamed, a scream so intense that it shattered all the windows. And then, silence. The house lay still. Its legs sank into the ground. The walls ceased to move. The heartbeat stopped. And the front door reappeared. Mira fled into the wet night, drenched and shivering. Behind her, the Walker house remained motionless, as if nothing had occurred. But in her notebook, the final line glowed softly. "The house walks again, when someone forgets the tale." She never told anyone what was done that evening. But she handed the notebook to Sami, and he passed it on to his friend, and soon every child in Duskwood had read it. The house has not shifted since. But occasionally, when the storm winds wail and trees groan in warning, somebody disappears, somebody who never did believe in fairy tales. So if you ever find a thudding at your window on a rainy night, look to see if your door is still there. And remember, some houses don't like to stand still.